Okay, so first and foremost, massive apologies for the delay to everyone's watching right now. Alright, I guess we are here now for the French Grand Prix for GT3. Allow us to introduce ourselves. First and foremost, my name is Arceus, one of your GT3 commentators for this season of GT3, and I'm joined by Fexalan, who is with us today. So Fex, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, excited for the start of the new GT3 season as well.
Hey, that is fantastic. Okay, so first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, once more, our humble apologies for the server delay, for the stream delay. But as we begin, welcome to this opening race of the Ion GT3 Season 3. It has been over 100 days since we have last raced for this series, and today we get to witness what could be a fantastic first race of the season. Right now, we are here at qualifying, 3 minutes and 6 seconds on the way. And as of the moment, we've got Seva on the KR Racing, currently on temporary pole as of this moment. Followed by P2, we got the third wheel and the Tri-Spirit GP. And followed by Eric Capri as well on the other KR Racing, as we are on the final 2 minutes and 40 seconds of the qualifying session. I guess it's going to be action-packed. And also, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, who are now floating on the sky, witnessing this event, hovering right there. So I guess people are keeping safe near the clouds as they witness this fantastic action going on right now on track, as we have over 13 teams, GT3 teams, this grid and this season. I guess we have 15. So we have a bunch of driver changes and team changes, which means we are in it for an action-packed season. I gotta tell you straight, people. Alright, so right now, as we're watching, we are now filled with a lot of drivers on the grid. I guess this is more than 23 drivers, to be honest, and they have such a heated and close tight qualifying lap times, as you can see here, with Seva still holding on to that pole as of the moment. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds, 90 seconds, people, and this is going to be fantastic. If Seva will be able to hold on to that pole, he's gonna go start on P1 this afternoon. So if you're watching the stream right now, let us know how you're feeling on the chat. I guess everyone is feeling excited and anxious as of the moment. We got 59 people watching the stream right now. Great to see everyone.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting race considering all the new mechanics that came with this season, especially the refuel mechanic. I wonder how teams will be utilizing that this race.
Ah yes, that is true, Fexalan. We've had this new feature added for GT3, that is the refueling mechanic, so definitely the teams could try to strategize on how they can be able to refuel their drivers' cars. Oh, I guess that was a short collision right there by one of the crate drivers and the KR. Man, and we're not yet beginning the race itself, but we're now 28 seconds left. Fexalan, what are your thoughts before we begin the race?
PH, they were doing very good in FP3. I'm kind of disappointed in them. I was hoping they would get to top 3 right now, but they haven't. Seva doing quite a great job for the KR Alpha team, or Beta team. And yeah, it seems as if that's a Tri-Spirit in P2 right now.
Yes, that is the third wheel in the Tri-Spirit. And yeah, I guess qualifying is over, and here we go. Seva is about to approach the final corner. Oh, not yet the final corners, actually. As he approaches the first corners of his final lap, I guess he's gonna
the third
be the pole sitter.
He's about to finish his lap, but he's on double yellows. I don't think he's gonna be improving his lap time. He goes into the pits. Apparently, he was on hard tires.
Oh, that has to be horrendous for him.
I wonder if they were collecting data during qualifying.
Oh, that could be possible as well. The data can be useful for future drives and races, especially as the race begins. So far, we only have, I guess, 3 people who have finished qualifying. That's 4 people now. I think that's 5. We're now on board with Seva. He's now about to approach the final corners of his lap. Will he be able to improve on this? He has 2 yellow sectors as he crosses the line for his qualifying lap. Oh, he gets a purple sector, improves on that one, and he finishes his qualifying lap for this session right now. We got the third wheel on current P2 as of the moment, and we got Eric Kepri that completes the top 3 drivers for the starting grid. Wow, this is going to be exciting. That's 2, what do you call this, 2 KR Racings and 1 Tri-Spirit. Fexelon, what are your thoughts on this one?
It seems as if the Ferrari dominance from last season is transferring to the KR dominance of this season.
Ah, that is fantastic. By the way, people, we have 2 KR Racing teams. We have Alpha and Beta. So that means these 2 KR Racing teams can work together hand in hand to get as much points as they can for the end of the Constructors' Championship by the end of the season. So right now we're just waiting for the other drivers to finish their laps before we begin the first race of this season.
Yeah,
Okay.
the sprint race should be quite interesting in such a tight track as well. I don't think we will see that much overtaking during the sprint race, since we're gonna have collisions, and after 3 laps or wherever collisions go on, I think people are just gonna keep their positions.
I see. Anyway, so I'm sorry, I might have pronounced Seva's name incorrectly. According to the people on the stream, it's actually Seva. So thank you for the correction. My apologies for that one, especially to Seva, but yes. Anyway, so yeah, we are just waiting for the other drivers to finish. Right now, we are actually waiting for an action-packed French Grand Prix this season. And as we wait, we are now on the, what do you call this, the cool-down session before the race begins.
They're gonna be getting ready to start the sprint race very soon.
Oh, tell me about the sprint race, Fexelon. What are your thoughts on that one?
It should be quite interesting. The one in F2 yesterday had a lot of crashes, had a lot of people getting stuck. I wonder if the same thing is gonna happen in GT3, but I really doubt it. I think people are gonna play it safe and avoid to overtaking.
Yeah, as much as
But
possible.
I
Nobody
wonder
wants
if
to collide.
Yeah, I just wonder if we're gonna see any people running very low fuel and going for a pit stop during the sprint race, and maybe refueling mid pit stop as well.
Ooh, yeah, that is also a possible one. They could actually start with a what do you call this? A refueling strategy. Then the others can do an undercut on the specific driver they want to overtake. So yeah, that is actually a possible point as well. That could be a good strategy by the teams. We may never know, since these drivers can have something up their sleeves, and the teams can have another stack of cards that they would like to throw up on this race. All right. Let me see, how many drivers are we still waiting to finish? I guess there are some that stopped this session that we don't have the checkered flag on.
Yeah, the ones that still doesn't say the finish line next to them, those are already in the pits. But yeah, everyone has finished the session. No one is on track right now. Everyone is just getting ready for the sprint race.
Fair enough. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, while we are waiting, just wanted to let you guys know that as of the moment, the teams are trying to strategize together with their drivers, and we're just waiting for the race officials to officially begin this race for this afternoon. So once again, for those who are not in the game as of the moment, we have a lot of fans that are hovering right now in the sky. Fex, if you're seeing this, this is wonderful. We have a lot of fans with us today.
Yeah, I do see all of them above the pit lane. We have a lot of fans here.
Actually, I'm not sure if they have the same height, or I think they have. It's just probably the camera. But yeah, it's so great to see them. They're right there, spectating the race right now. So that's gonna be great to be able to witness such a fantastic round for today.
All
right, so we're waiting.
In the pits, I see both Grand Stars on softs. I wonder what kind of fuel they're running. I believe they are ready. Let's see what kind of fuel they're on though.
Alright, let me actually let's go spectate the Brand Star drivers. Okay, so right now we are on board one of the Brand Star drivers as of the moment. Vex, would you like to fill us up with more of these information?
Yes, I am just trying to find what kind of fuel they are running. It seems as if he's on 52% fuel and new softs. So I wonder if
Oh,
that's his race fuel or not. That's interesting. 52%. That means he spawned on 50% and refueled a little bit. But yeah, since
that's
they have the
actually
refuel feature, they can choose more precise certain fuel for the race now.
that is also a possible way. To have less fuel on the car means more speed, right? So that's also
Yeah,
a
the
great
car is
strategy
more
to keep in
nimble.
mind.
The car is easier to control, more nimble, and obviously more
Ah,
speed.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's also equivalent to setting fast laps during the race. If you're gonna go into the race with a lot of fuel, that's gonna be good for the long run, but that's not gonna help you get speed, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's one. That's why you see people setting their fastest laps during the end of the race instead of the start.
That is right. Just like what we see in real life racing, people try to get the least number of fuel that they could near the end of the race to be able to score the fastest lap as they can. But right now, of course, you gotta go put into mind that if you start the race with, let's say, full fuel, that could help you, but the question is, will that help you get speed? Will you be able to move up the ranks, or most likely you would go down? So those are the other things that people have to keep in mind. That's why
Means you avoid the
52% is good.
Yeah, it means they avoid the pit stop, but I wonder if a pit stop will be beneficial like we saw in the F2 race with Toots, or was it Loosebot actually pitting during the sprint race, something we have never seen in an F2 sprint race before, and he managed to
Uh-huh.
make it stick and he won the sprint race.
Oh wow, that's an amazing call, huh? Wow,
Yeah.
I guess a possible way is also to make sure that your strategies are on par with your goals for the session.
Mhm.
Amazing P2 score in that one. Okay, so any updates on the track right now? We still don't have the drivers on the starting grid. We're still waiting.
Yeah, we are still waiting. But France
Okay.
is such an fun track as well, very tight track,
Oh
no room
yes.
for mistakes.
Yes,
The
yes.
turn 4 chicane is quite difficult with these GT3 cars since they lack a lot of
Oh,
grip. Yeah,
yeah. If you go on to the turn 4, I believe, and that hard chicane, and then you miss that shot, man, you're gonna spin, as they say in modern F1, sbinala. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You do want to
exactly.
go and hit the walls and sbinala. GG's
Yeah,
Just
for
I
when I
you,
see a
bro.
say
KR
turn four,
racing car leaving the pits. I wonder who that is.
do we want to go
Um,
take a look at turn 4 real quick before we start qual? We start the race.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, let's go. Let
All
us
right,
go
let's
and show.
go.
Oh, by the way, we have Sheye on the helicam with us this afternoon.
Hello.
yes, we
So,
do.
All
by
right,
the way,
let's
it's
go.
another fantastic feature. We are now having a camera on the skies, and Sheye is our pilot of the day. So, here we are on turn 4. This is going to be a fantastic way to possibly start your strategies going along. If you pass this thing successfully, you can go to the succeeding turns nice and steady and be able to move up the ranks as you go through. By the way, so we're still waiting. Allow us to fill you up with the team changes for season 3 of GT3. So we have Uprise Motorsports. Uprise Motorsports remains the same for this season. And we have Ferrari Dragonite Power Teams 1 and 2 from the previous seasons have now been rebranded to KR Racing. That's going to be Alpha and Beta respectively. Vexilla Motorsport remains the same. So we got We got Vexilla Motorsport remains the same for S3, Season 3. Next, we got Brandstar, which also remains the same. We also have Lotus GT3, which I believe will now be rebranded to Fleet Racing. So that is an amazing change in the paddock. And now we have TriStar GT3 and Spirit GP from the previous seasons. They have now combined to form the Tri-Spirit GP GT3 team. And also, as for E-Spirit Fexeland, I believe you know the history behind the change of E-Spirit. Would you like to fill us up on that one?
Espirit was sold to Epic Dude for a decent amount of Robux, which was rebranded to Blaze Motorsports. But before the season has started, it seems as if the team got into some controversy, and Epic Dude managed to lose the team. There was a free slot opened up, and people applied to join to get the team slot, and Indominus Rex managed to get it with the Hiroshima team.
Oh, so yeah, that means they have already changed, and is now actually been rebranded to, as what Fexelin had said, is now Hoshi Shirogane, which is also under the ownership of Indominus Rex, also one of our drivers for F1. And now we have One Sword GT3, which has been rebranded to Crake Racing GT3. So people, for information, Crake is actually an energy drink popular in the road racing community and is now part of the paddock. It is actually a team that has been, what do you call this, branched all throughout the road racing, iron racing community. So it has teams in F1, F2, as well as GT3, and also crossbow racing, which is
And
actually
endurance as
fantastic.
well, yeah. They have two F2 teams, then an endurance team as well, which we'll be seeing next week.
Oh yeah, which is fantastic, and we can't wait to see the action for Crake for this season. Next, we have the two Zeco Racing teams. We have Toyota Advan and Toyota AU, so they remain the same for Season 3. And also, we have another one, people, that is Meme Racing. So it's essentially still Uprace Motorsports, but with a different name. Next, we have Mitsubishi World as well, which is a new team coming into the GT3 grid and is currently partnered with Vexila Motorsports. And lastly, we have ProDrive Motorsport, which remains the same for Season 3. So we're still wondering why we haven't started the race right now, but that's all of our team updates as of the moment. So that's going to be a fantastic grid lineup for this season.
I wonder if we're waiting on race directors to come into the game. Because I don't think Shea is hosting the session,
I
and
believe
Greg
the one
is the
who's
driver.
hosting this session is Low Fun Greg, but
Isn't she a
Oh.
driver?
that's a good question.
Okay, so right now we are on a what do you call this? An impasse as we are waiting for the beginning of the first race of the GT3 season. So right now we are waiting, hopefully, for a race director to begin, since right now we have the drivers and the teams just actually waiting on the paddock as of the moment. So we're just waiting for a possible move so that we can begin this show on the road. Just imagine that one. But right now, we're still waiting. Oh, seems like someone is in the commentating box with us tonight. And I wonder who that is, Fexelan.
I wonder. Oh, is it? Who is that? I think that's Dak here, which was in the comments.
yes. We have the care who snuck inside the commentary box. Oh man. Shaya, if you could bring your helicopter over here, I think we have the care with us in the commentator box.
That's it.
Oh wow,
Is he the one
ladies
who's
and
gonna be
gentlemen,
doing
if you
the
can
race
see this, we
review
have the
and
care
stuff,
right
right?
now.
That's interesting.
I guess
He's
be
with
helping
us.
with data. That's what he's good at, right?
Okay. So in the meantime, people, we don't have any updates so far about the race director, which means we are still currently waiting for what could happen by before the start of the race. So right now we still have no updates, and the teams and drivers are currently strategizing and possibly waiting for their cars to be sent to the grid.
I guess if you gotta do
Okay,
it,
right now I'm actually watching. We are now here on the grid. So by the way, people, if you can see, we have British Kota dancing on the starting grid right now while waiting for the race to begin. So I guess since there isn't any race director as of the moment, there isn't the problem dancing on the starting grid.
Results. I'm gonna get Greg to get the results this week before, so we can start real quick.
No problem.
The results have been posted in
No,
the.
they have not. That was for free practice too. Not for
Okay, never
qualifying.
mind then. Yep.
Alright, so, as of the moment, still no updates, people. But it is so fun to see that there are people. Actually, there's only one person on track right now, and that is British Coda dancing. And yes, by the way, there are people asking. Yes, those are players in the sky right now, fans watching the first race for GT3. So they are here with us today, and they are now scattered throughout the sky as they survey and search this the current paddock as of the moment. So by the way, according to the Care, who's with us in the commentator box here, he is one of our new commentators. Oh wow! So he's here with us. Fantastic. Okay, so here we go. Sheye has taken up the race director spot. That means all the drivers will now go to the grid as of the moment, and that's gonna be almost marking the beginning of today's race. All right, Fexelen, what are your thoughts going into the beginning?
It all depends on what strategies these teams are going to be taking. I wonder if any team is going to be risking the one stop. It seems as if they're saying it's quite unlikely, so I'm not sure if we will see a one-stop strategy. But it depends on what tires each driver is on. It seems as if a lot of them are on hards. I see a couple of them on softs though.
Yeah. We could also that they could start with soft tires and possibly get an upper hand in the race. I think, considering it's the sprint race, right? Choosing softs would be a likable choice as compared to using hards, since we only have a few laps going on. And right now, people, as you can see on the stream, we have drivers lining up on the grid. We are now about to start this race, hopefully in the next few minutes.
Yes, we are. Okay.
I know how many laps we're doing.
I don't know as well.
And as of this moment, British Coda is still dancing on the grid. Wow. The happiness is there, you know. Sometimes we gotta be happy and excited to get ourselves be passionate throughout an event. And that is what British Coda is showing us today. We have to be positive, always. Especially as we start this new race. Okay, and we are now seeing much more cars entering the grid. In a few moments' time, we can finally begin. And I am personally excited for this. Okay.
Yeah, I am quite excited to see how this will go. I just need to check to see what tires each team is on. It seems as if the back markers right now are both on softs. I see some cars on the hard, so it's gonna be a mixed strategy coming from all these teams. I wonder how they're gonna work the fuel though. If any team is doing a one stop, going a softs, they're probably gonna be considering a fuel refuel during their stop.
Yep, we can see those cars as well, Fexelan, as we are now seeing much more cars enter the starting grid. Okay.
JCAS currently on about 40% fuel, while Garrett is on 50% fuel. So there is a difference in fuel.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Let's actually see the other teams. Let us go and check Uprise.
God, these guys are so slow.
Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. Alright. Some updates.
Oh,
We have 39.79% for fuel for Alex Sinho in the Uprise Motorsports, as well as his teammate. We have Capadonna, who is also in 35.39%. So roughly the same number, and that is a great strategy call as well. Alright, so as of this moment, we have updates, people. Fans will have to be removed from the session as of the moment, and they can be able to watch the stream on YouTube. Alright, Fexalan, I guess we're seeing all of the cars on grid right now. And in a few moments now, we will begin this. Service locking in 30 seconds. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are now en route to the beginning of this race. The fans have now left the server to give way for the stream to take place. So right now, we are expecting a fully sunny race with no rain to trample the tracks right now. So this could be a full-on speed and, what they call this, horsepower focused race right now. We also have drivers opting for soft tires and lower fuels to be able to use this for the race itself. So this is going to be a fantastic turn of events. The strategies are there right now, and we are just going to wait to see if those strategies will make it out on track right now.
We're getting ready to start.
Alright, got that, Shay.
Waiting
Fexalan, are
on
you
this
with
one
us?
tri-skirt car.
You still with us, Fexalan?
I am with you, yes.
Okay. That's great, that's
Waiting
great.
for this great start. Quite excited as well.
Alright. Me too as well. Yeah, you could feel the tension, you know, just brewing up right now. So at this moment, the camera isn't able to see the drivers from far away, so we might see them once the lights go out.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, so while waiting, this will be your starting grid for the sprint race, GT3. We've got Seva on P1. We got the third wheel on P2. Eric Keppery on P3. We got Garrett Turbo on P4. We got Hawk Bass on P5. We got Eric Brother 55 for P6. We've got Agonist for P7. We got Bomba Clout for P8. Capadonna for P9. JCast for P10. Lolfun Greg for P11. Just Matt for P12. We got Alex Singhoper for P13. We've got Blue Sonic Gen for P14. We've got V Plummy for P15, Nop M for P16, Tempe X for P17, Tesla Rossa for P18, Wide Yo-Yo for P19, we got Waffles for P20, and we've got Capo for P21, Lol Mizan for P22, Ozone for P23, and the list goes on as we continue.
Alright, let's do this one more time. There we go.
Okay, here we go. That's words from Greg right now, one of our moderators, that we can watch the stream on Iron Racing on YouTube. So if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to Iron Racing today for more fantastic videos such as this.
Alright, here we go. Give me a second.
All
while I
right.
set things up.
Alright, people, so here we go. The race is about to begin in a few moments' time,
Not
and we're
yet.
just waiting
Hang
for the
on.
lights to go out.
Not yet. Hang on.
Okay, Shay, on your word.
So we're
Alright,
starting the
and here we
formation
go.
lap.
It's formation lap. Fexalan, take us through it.
There isn't much to take you through during the formation lap, but hold on one second.
Alright, so as of this moment, we have the drivers doing their formation lap, slow and steady throughout the race. We can see Seva and P1 as we spectate him as of the moment. Okay, so the formation lap allows the drivers to get a decent feel around the track before the actual race begins. This would be able to also prevent any unnecessary collisions as much as possible by having the drivers run on a decent speed throughout the track. At the same time, this would also help the cars go through smoothly as they progress through the field before they reach the beginning of the race. And now, as we have the drivers continuing to push forward, you're seeing that the list of drivers starts to show on the leaderboard right here, which is fantastic. This would be useful for the race itself. All right.
There they go. All right, it finally works again. Yay. Shit.
Okay, server lock has been disabled and the drivers are going back to their starting positions in the starting grid today. So
We're
this will
supposed to say
be...
that.
Okay, sorry.
There we go. Okay.
Alright, as I was saying, the drivers have now started to park their cars into their respective places in the starting grid. Our apologies for the earlier mishaps, but now the race will be beginning in a few moments' time.
Gotta wait. D-Pod screaming his head off right now. Okay, hang on a second.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, just a few minutes away for the race to begin. We have a total of 29 drivers on the grid right now that will be participating for the first ever race of the GT3 season.
Okay, he's in. I gotta wait for him to get ready.
Understood? No problem. Okay, so to everybody in the chat watching right now, show your support and admiration for your teams on the chat below. Let us see your admiration and support to the fantastic lineups that we have. Alright, it's go time as according to Sheye as we are now gearing up for this race. Lights are now flickering, waiting for the red lights to pop out in a few moments' time. Okay, all engineers and staff must now go back to their respective positions for the race to begin. Alright, this is it. The beginning of the race for this 2021 Season 3 season for GT3 as we now have 5 lights and all the way, we're just waiting on the go signal. As it's go time here in France, we are now beginning the GT3 season live. We now have Seva going on to P1, containing his position right there. Fantastic stuff as we have the third wheel coming up to the P2 spot right there, attempting to make an overtake. I think he does right there. Seva actually holds on to the P1 position as he proceeds to turn 4. Fantastic move right there. Others are now following suit. Look at the gap right there. Fantastic gap separating these drivers. It's almost as if everybody's close to each other right now. Fextelen, how are things going on right now?
Seems as if the driver for Tree Spirit is really fighting those KR racing cars, as we see 4 of them or 3 of them in the top four right now. So the KR teams are really dominating as of right now. Although Garrett has been falling down in positions, he started in P5, I believe, and he lost 2 positions in that race start.
Dang, that has to be a horrendous start for Garrett, but there is still a lot of time for him to pick up some places in this race, as we have a P3 and P4 lockout for the KR drivers. Fantastic start by KR. We got a third wheel still on P2 right now, and Seva getting all 3 purple sectors. Fantastic driving by him. Let's go around the midfield. As of the moment, we have some fantastic action going on to the midfield, as we have Bobo Cloud trying to gain on to Organize in P7, and as well as the car of Lolfon Greg in the Crake, also attempting to get a variable amount of positions in this race right now. Fantastic stuff going on the midfield. We're seeing action brewing up as they go around this hard turn right here and onto the long straight of the Circuit du Con in France. Okay. Moving on, we have still Seva continuing on to pick up 2 purple sectors and keeping that lead quite significant, as it's now 1 second and 1.2 seconds actually, his lead onto the P2 spot, which is now occupied by the third wheel.
Yeah, and it seems as if most of the back markers are people who are running the hard, so I wonder how that strategy is gonna work out. It seems as if the other Tree Spirit driver has just spun out in the corner after the long straight.
That has to be a horrendous start by the Tree Spirit driver. I guess still. Still, there is still enough time in this race to pick up some points, as we're still in lap 3 right now. I do not think there are collisions. Are there collisions, Fexeland? Do you see any collisions on track?
No collisions yet. It's still green flag, so collisions are on when it says red flag.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I guess overtaking will be much easier for this part, as we are now approaching lap 4 of the race in a few turns time. Okay, on board right now with Tesla Rossa in one of the Zekos. He's now running in P14 knots at the moment, gaining on Greg, who is about less than a second ahead of him. This could be a good chance for an overtake by Tesla Rossa in this Zeko racing.
Seems as if we don't have any collisions yet, so it might be on lap 4. Everyone is getting
He will be
settled.
controlling, so it's up to him whenever he starts it.
Okay.
Oh,
So yeah,
All right.
drivers are getting settled in their positions, which they will be holding for most of the race if nothing goes wrong.
Waiting for the lights to turn red for the collisions to be on.
Should be in
No,
a
no,
Alright
we're on
then.
that yet.
I guess at this moment, the drivers are enjoying the serenity and tranquility of the green lights, because if red lights start to show up, that means it's going to be collision time. Nobody wants to collide on another person on this race. That means there's a chance that their race would be over if they do collide. Right, Fexeland?
Yeah, they no. Well, GT3 doesn't have damage, so
Alright, here we go.
okay, collisions are going on soon, and
They
they
should be
do
on
go
3-2
on.
now.
Seems as if all of the front runners know that's Garrett hitting the back of a car, and that's a Vexala going straight into the back of Garrett, and that's JCat going into the back of Garrett as well. That's
It's horrendous.
JCat and Garrett all on the back straight, all of them having issues and crashing into each other. Tempe is getting dragged on the track right now. Oh no, it seems as if it's going very horrible to all those midfield cars right now.
I see. I do actually agree right there, as Tempe attempts to reposition his car on track as he enters the final turn of the race. Amazing clipping that curb right there as he now enters this
Now,
long
we see
straight,
two of those-
nice and steady.
We
Oh!
just saw 2 of those Hoshi cars. I don't know what just happened. Both of them were into the walls. I wonder if that was vision lag or they actually crashed.
That is White Yo-Yo right there, who has gone through the wall. Okay, that's And now he actually re-exits the wall, and there we go. Wide Yo-Yo is safe and sound, people. He's now safe and sound as he approaches the final turn of his of this lap. Sorry. And meanwhile, let's go back to the front runners. We still have an intense fight between the third wheel and Seva, who are now vying out for P1. Imagine this, Fexaland. There is a 6-second gap between the third wheel and Eric Capery. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, that's a very insane lap. I wonder, insane gap. I wonder if Eric had some sort of issues with. I think he's coming up on a lapped car right now. So I wonder if that lapped car is what caused him to fall down. No, that's not a lapped car. That's the third wheel who's 6 seconds behind now as well. So I wonder what happened. Maybe they crashed into some sort of back marker, or they just had some sort of mistake that made them fall so behind Seva right now.
Oh, and as of this moment, Fexaland, seems like the third wheel is slowing down a bit as he is now close to Eric Capery, and the gap between Seva and the third wheel now is actually increasing to 6 seconds.
Straight. Big slide on the straight. That was one of the ZR teams.
Oh! Okay, so one of the
That's the
ZR. Dang.
That was the Zeko team.
I guess, okay, he's back on track now, so that's pretty okay. The recovery has to be done.
Tri-Spirit
Okay, what
on
was
the
that?
Final corner, having some trouble.
Ooh, that has to be horrendous. I can see that spin right there.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, that
Oh,
seems to
no.
be Lucy right now,
Oh,
struggling
another one.
near the pits and making his teammate crash. His teammate was running P2,
Oh, that's-
and he's
that's
making
not
his
Right
exactly-
on that edge of the corner. He's got to get out of the way for these other drivers. Oh, he's taking this KRR with him as well.
Okay, this race has just gotten more interesting. With all, oh no, that's the third wheel that hits the wall right there. That causes a huge traffic jam with Epic Brother and Oganes as they now pass the third wheel. Oh no, this is not a good race going for the third wheel so far. Man, he has now dropped down to P8 as of the moment, and that is over 21 seconds behind of Seva, who has a 9-second comfortable lead over Eric Capery. Oh man. And there's another spin right there. I think that's Capadonna. Oh no, Capadonna's all good, back on track right now, as the gap between Eric Capery and Seva begins to decrease. I think Eric Capery is gaining up on him by 0.5 a second. Wow, imagine that speed.
Yeah, it's truly insane. The thing with sprint races, you really can't predict anything, since as you saw, the third wheel was running 6 seconds ahead of the next car behind them, and now he's running in P7, having to deal with other cars and having to overtake.
That is right, Fexaland. And I guess the third wheel is trying to do his best to gain that much positions as he could to possibly pass Organize on the Zeko Racing and possibly be able to move forward and challenge Epic Brother for P5. But what they call this, the time stamps between him and Epic Brother is like 3 seconds behind, so that's gonna be a hard time.
Oh no,
But
the third wheel.
Oh no, that has to be horrendous by him.
Third wheel crashes into the wall after turn 5 or turn 6, I believe.
Okay,
So
he's
still
now back
losing
on track.
time.
Alright, meanwhile, let's go to the midfield as of this moment. Let's see the action going on from P12 to P18. We have JCass on the Brand Star trying to gain on Just Matt. He has 2 seconds, a gap that he has to close to possibly overtake Just Matt right there. That's JCass on the Brand Star in P15, closing up on Just Matt. And meanwhile,
I
Just
see.
Matt, yes? Okay. My apologies on that one. That's Just Matt now gaining up on Tesla Rossa, one of the teammates. That's a 3-second gap as well.
We have 6 laps to go, and we are still not seeing any cars go into the pit, so I wonder if these soft runners are planning to finish the race on those tires.
My goodness, this whole collision thing is trying
Lucy into the
to...
wall after
Oh.
turn 8, I believe.
Okay, that's another collision right there, which was Okay, that has to be a horrendous one. But thank goodness the driver is back on track as there's another one right there! Man, the amount of collisions just in the sprint race is horrendous. There's been a lot of
That's
collisions from the
Oganis
moment the red flag
in
showed.
P6 right now. Bomba Clutch goes into Oganis, who's running P6. So he has
Oh.
recovered. Bomba Clutch is recovering right now, but they have lost a lot of time right there.
I see, yes, that is indeed. They have to keep pushing forward to possibly overtake Agonize. But meanwhile, Agonize on his, on their, what do you call this? On their standings right now for the team of Zeko, they have a decent chance to score valuable points if Zeko Racing happens to overtake the KR in front of them right now. So this has to be an intense battle to get those points coming in by the end of this race. So we have Epic Brother sitting comfortably on P5 as Agonize attempts to overtake Epic Brother, which would be in 3 seconds time, hopefully.
Has anybody checked Lucy's fuel count? He's going kind of slow right now, going on that front stretch.
I'm not
Oh.
sure what kind of fuel he's on. I can't really check.
He's number 48. Why don't you give that a check?
Number
All the
48.
computers are full. Okay, it seems as if he's on 36% fuel. His tires are on
6.82.
9%.
He's going very slow on the very inside area. Oh, and speaking of that, there was a crash right there with one of the Pro Drive drivers.
I wonder who that is.
Couldn't tell the name for the life of me, but oh,
Seems as
Oh,
if most of the drivers are struggling with tire wear right now, especially those who are running softs.
well, of course. I mean, if you get in a crash and you start getting some spins, that's gonna definitely take some detriment to your tire.
Yeah.
indeed.
And as we see Seva behind traffic right now, so he's gonna have to deal with traffic and dirty air.
Yeah, you just tell me about dirty air, how horrendous that would be as compared to Slipstream.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of understeer going through corners, and
Ooh.
I wonder if he's trying to go overtake that car. I'm not seeing any blue flags right now. This car should be shown blue flags. They're holding up Seva a lot.
Yeah, and I think Seba is attempting to go round around the
Yeah.
inside. I can't believe I said rind.
Yeah,
Round the
he's
side.
avoiding taking the same line as that car, because if he takes the same line and that car lags on his screen, he's gonna be hitting it, even if it doesn't look like he
Yes, we
is
don't
hitting
want
it.
that to happen.
Looks like he was
Man.
able to make it pass pretty safely, though.
Yep, he passed them
Okay,
all.
that's great. That's great. On board now, on board now with Seva on number 53 in the KR. Right now, as of this moment, lap 12 out of 14. That is a KR12. Imagine this. This will be a great, fantastic start for KR Racing by the end of this race. So this is followed by P3 Capadonna with the Uprise Motorsports. So that would be our temporary podium sitters.
Oh, there's a fight
before
for
the end of the race.
position with Oganis and Bombo Clutch right now, I believe.
Oh,
There isn't much. Oh, wait, no, it's Epic Brother and Oganis right now. They're both fighting for P5.
oh, I see. The gap between these two drivers is simply a 0.1. Just imagine this. Agonies can be able to fancy an overtake against Epic Brother.
They were side by side before we started.
Oh,
watching them.
Agonies does get an overtake. It's now on to P5. Agonies is now in P5. Fantastic move against Epic Brother right there.
And it's coming up into a lot of traffic, I believe. Or some of those are positions, some of them are
There's the
traffic.
crash. Final corner.
Oh,
Oh, there's.
no!
Oh no, that's
That's Brand
AJ
Star.
Capadonna.
That's
Yeah.
a bunch of cars. That was an uprise.
Yeah.
That's a Brand's car.
dang, that has to be a horrendous collision right there. But thank goodness that the drivers are now back on track.
Seems to be a KR123 right now, but
Oh.
there.
Okay, so we got. Oh wow, that's insane. That's KR123. So meanwhile we have Garrett on P8 and the other KR attempting to also
Oh
gain
no,
some points.
Oganis goes into the back of Epic Brother right there.
Oh,
That must really hurt. I hope he didn't lose too much time there. I wonder if he lost
Hopefully
the
not.
position because of that.
Oganis, however, on the Zeko Racing attempting to get that P3 spot. Agnes is saying, I'm gonna go get that P3 spot whether you like it or not, and I'll keep pushing forward for that one. I'm coming for you, Epic Brother 55.
Yeah, it seems as if Oganis lost 2 positions because of that mistake right there. AJ Capadona and Biplummy managed to capitalize on that and pass him.
Okay.
But
There are so many
Seva
things going on
starts
right
in the
now.
Final lap of the race. Seva finishes the first sector. Oh no, that's AJ Capadona dragging a car that was ahead of him. I think that was traffic ahead of him right
Oh.
there. But yeah, he just dragged the car with him. And Oganis actually taking the position back from AJ.
I see. Okay, so after this
AJ making
moment,
a mistake on
There's
turn
Seva.
2 right there.
Seva finishing the second sector.
Seva
Okay.
starting the final sector of the race, yes.
to the final sector, most likely he will be the winner for the sprint race. That means it's gonna need to be a fantastic finish for KR. There's so many things happening in this race that we could not even go to the specific crashes that are taking place from one sector to another. So our sincere apologies, people, as we now have Seva approaching the starting grid as he finishes the sprint race for the French Grand Prix. Okay, fantastic job by Seva, who now accomplishes this first half of the session today, followed by Eric Keppery in P2. That is now going to be followed by Epic Brother, who's now approaching the final turns of the track as he approaches the starting grid and takes the checkered flag as well. Here we go. Epic Brother 55 finishes as well as V Plumby on P4. That's the Brand Star, followed by Capadonna and the Uprise Motorsports, and we now have Agnes who loses that P5 position as the other drivers continue to follow suit. So this is a fantastic win by Seva in the KR, followed by Seva's KR colleagues finishing up the podium spots. It's going to be a KR 1, 2, 3.
Yes, indeed. And it seems as if AJ Capadona managed to recover from his mistakes and go back to P5, and Oganes must have made some sort of mistake to lose so much time to AJ right there. And it seems
Alright,
as if
so-
Oganes has left the server.
By the way, Shea, can you show us the helicam as of the moment?
Right now we're finishing up the race, so we're going to be seeing all these pit drivers getting into the pits, getting ready for their feature race, which will be happening shortly after.
Alright.
So after we
So
make sure
Seva.
that all drivers are off the field, we can get that started.
Understood. So Seva is now entering the paddock. A very nice win by Seva right there. Good driving as well by all of the drivers. There's been such a hectic first sprint race of the season. Imagine this, Faxon and Shea. We have just finished the sprint race for round 1 of GT3. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that was a very fun race indeed. Seva dominating the field. He didn't look back even once to see who's behind him. He managed to get a 10-second gap to the second car behind him. And it seems as if the soft runners, the no-stop soft runners, have managed to pull off that strategy.
Yes,
We haven't seen a pit stop from anyone though.
Oh yeah, I didn't see any pit stops earlier
so
as well.
no
So yeah,
one
that's one thing
pitted
as well.
during that race. It's very
Which is
risky to
go
pitch
on,
during a
so that
sprint
was
race,
fun.
considering you lose track position.
Mhm.
You have to overtake again to get it back.
So apparently, based on how the teams have strategized their strategies for the race, I think those that ran with soft tires in the front row apparently had the most advantages by the end of the race. Those in hard tires tried for a longer stint, and possibly they have gained only a significant number of positions on the field. At the end of the day, considering it is a a sprint race, softer tires are definitely the go-to, because as you can see, we have here the top 3 finishers, all with soft tires, by the way.
Yeah, they are. It seems as if the hard runners might have made a mistake, because at the beginning of the race, I saw most of them were under the P10.
Okay,
Now
we're
we're
just
just
waiting
waiting
for
for
the feature race.
the feature race to start. Hawk, is that Hawk base in P10?
Oh,
Which Garrett in P2? Or no, those are the wrong stand-ins. Hold on, let me find the correct stand-ins.
seems like the leaderboards have been shuffled, considering we are now just waiting for the feature race. Let us actually check
Garrett should be
upon our
starting
fans.
in third for the feature race.
Oh. Alright, let us go and check our chat from our fans right now in Ion Racing, those watching the stream. There is unfortunately... Okay, I'm very sorry about that one. There is unfortunately a lag in the server, in the stream, so we could not be able to see the live reactions of the fans as of the moment. But we are just waiting for the feature race, ladies and gentlemen. But that was a fantastic drive, by the way, by Seva, followed by the other KR drivers. We got Eric Kepri and Epic Brother 55. Fantastic drive by these individuals. So we are just currently on the cooldown session as we wait for a few minutes before the feature race begins. And I believe the feature race would pose a lot of fantastic action on track.
Yeah, it would. And it's all about pace and strategy in the feature race. There is no luck, since there is no cars you can crash into.
Yes, yes, yes. Whew, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we will be back after a few minutes as we wait for the race officials to set up the feature race. We'll get back to you in a moment.
We are currently just waiting for them to set up the feature race. As we see, some drivers are lining up right now, I believe. Some of them are just leaving the pits. It's gonna be a top 10 reverse grid, of course. Whoever finishes in P10, he's gonna be starting the race, and I believe that's Hawk base. It's gonna be Garrett starting the race in P2, Temp in P8, Bombo Class in P. Hold on, let me get the positions correct. Hawk base P1, Garrett P2, Temp in P3, Bombo Class P4, Oganes P5, AJ Capadona P6, Vimplenny P7, Epic Brother P8, and Eric P9 and Seva P10. And all the other finishers are starting where they finish.
Okay. I guess if that's the case with Garrett in the KR, possibly now in the front row for the feature race, this could possibly be a strategy done by KR to secure that pole position for the feature race.
Yeah,
We
the
may
only
never know.
issue with Garrett is he always struggles with fuel, but now since we have a refuel feature, we should be able to see his true pace in GT3 races. So yeah, he might have a
Oh.
good chance at a podium.
Yeah, that will be exciting to see. And also for the rest of the drivers with us today in the opening race.
Yes,
All
it
right.
will be. So we are currently just waiting for the rest of the drivers to line up. It will be interesting to see what starting fuel most of the teams are going to be on. Seems as if Garrett is on 50% fuel, so he's probably thinking he's gonna refuel during the pit stop.
Oh, that could be a possible strategy as well.
It could be.
Whew. All right, so we're
I
gonna
don't
be
think
in it.
refueling takes up any more time than a normal pit stop, so it should be considered by most teams.
By the way, if you take a look at the commentating box, Fexalan, we have a visitor.
Seems as if someone took my spot. Well, I'm just gonna
We
leave that.
have. Oh no.
Oh,
We
we're
have
doing the jump out and in strategy. Okay.
We're just waiting for
Atra.
all the drivers to jump out and back in.
So it's Atra with us. Hello, Atra. Fantastic. With us in the stream. Oh, there will be no formation lap according to Fasta. Oh,
And
this will be
let's
exciting.
watch flight is about to start.
Okay, here we go. The lights are now ready. But is this everyone?
We got 20 on grid.
Seems like everything is going to begin now as we are on the way for the feature race. Okay, we got Hog Base now leading the pack in P1 as at the moment, followed by TempX and followed by Bubba Cloud in P3. Now we have Garrett Turbo and P4 losing a bit of a position right there as we now proceed to Capadon and P5. This is such a fantastic beginning to the feature race. We're now on lap 1 and we're now seeing a lot of overtakes round around the midfield. This is going to be exciting as we see the drivers now head onto this heartbreaking zone as they proceed to this long straight. We have 5 drivers.
Garrett has lost so many positions in the start of that race. He's all the way down in P10 right now. It seems as if he has moved up to P9, but he started P2 and now he's in P9.
Ooh,
A lot
That's
of
not a good
drivers
start.
are on hards as well. I wonder if they're gonna be doing hards. I see a couple of them on the softs though.
we can see the front runners. I think this is Bombo Clout running the hard tires. Like as you've said, we have now 2 drivers setting setting 2 purple sectors ideally. But the third wheel gets 3 purple sectors and seems like it's now another reverse roll by the top runners earlier in the sprint race. We now have the third wheel gaining P1 on the race right now, followed by Epic Brother 55 and the KR that is now in P2, and we have Agnes proceeding to P3. Okay, now this is such an amazing reshuffling of positions by these drivers. Fantastic work.
Yeah, it seems to be the third wheel's redemption right now as he's holding P1. He's about 6 tenths ahead of Epic Brother in P2. Bombo Clutch P3, 1.3 seconds behind the lead, and the car behind him just 3 tenths behind. That's Oganis. It seems as if the pack is splitting up very nicely at the start of this race. We're only on lap 2 and we're seeing a lot of mistakes.
All right. My apologies, a bit of a delay on my part. Anyway, as we now proceed lap 3, we have the third wheel holding on to that P1 right now, followed by Epic Brother and Bumble Cloud. The positions have not changed for the top 3 runners, but meanwhile, as we proceed to the best of the rest runners, we have Agnes, V Plummy, and Eric Capri now vying out for P4. But we got Agnes sitting comfortably on that P4 spot, followed by Eric Capri and Garrett Turbo in the sister KR Racing. We got Tempe X and the fellow Advan on P8, and we have the Crake of Greg on P9, and we have JCass in the Brandstar. That completes our top 10 runners for the first part of this race. We're now on lap 3, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and there could be a lot of things that can happen here. A spin or two may affect the early part of this race, but a good strategy call can mean that whoever might have spun or caused a collision can still zoom up to the top if the drivers are still resilient and willing to go forth. Anything can happen in 32 laps time.
And there seems to be a very close fight for P2 and P3 right now, as Epic Brother is only 5 tenths ahead of Viplummy, and it seems as if he's not that far away from Bomboclat and Oganis, so the fight for P3 is still on, as Viplummy takes the fastest lap of the race.
Oh,
He's the run in the softs, while Bomboclat and Oganis are on the hards though, so he better make very good use of those tires.
meanwhile, let's actually take a look at Hawk Base 1102, Capadonna and Blue Sonic Gen and P12 to 14 respectively. There is quite a close gap between these drivers, with Hawk Base leading these 3 drivers in P12 to P14. Anytime now, there could be an overtake going on or a collision if the drivers are not careful, but the gap between these 3 drivers are fantastically close.
Yeah, as we go on the onboard of Oganis right now, he's chasing down the Vexala of Bomboclat as they go through the final corner of the track. He seems to be getting a better exit right now, and he's going for the overtake on the line. It seems as if he manages to get the position, and he's 1/10 ahead of Bomboclat as they go through turn 1 and 2.
That is a good job right there, but meanwhile, as we go down into the midfield, we can see that Capadonna has
Oh
finally...
no, that's Epic Brother who spun on turn 3
Oh!
right there. He just lost the position. He lost a lot of positions, I think.
He's
He
going
managed
down
to
the field
recover.
right there.
Yeah, it seems as if he's closer to Garrett and Seva and P6 and P7 right now. He's closer to the midfield.
Oh, that has to be a hard time now for Epic Brother to close the gap to the upper runners of this race. But meanwhile, that means Viplummy is now in the Brandstar, by the way, in P2. Imagine that, with 1.7 as the gap between him and the third wheel.
Yeah, the third wheel and Viplummy, both of them are running the soft, so that explains why they're in the lead of this race. I wonder what the pitch window for those soft tires are though.
Viplummy had a bit of a bump on that last corner. He's lost a bit of speed. Will they be able to catch up on that?
Yeah, it seems as if the cars behind Viplummy are getting so much closer, but there is a 4-second gap though.
Okay, seems like the third wheel is technically the definition of speed for this early part of the race, as the third wheel leads with a comfortable 3-second gap to Viplummy. That is a great tactic, running the softs right there, but at the same time, running the softs would mean that the pit wall has to be opened for the third wheel to come in and change tires.
But here we see a great job from Garrett, who started P2, fell all the way down to P10, but right now he's in P4, trying and gaining on Oganis to get that P3 position. He's only 7/100ths away from taking the position from Oganis, both of them on the hards, so he's making the strategy work.
Okay. That's actually, you gotta give it to the third wheel for keeping the tires all good for 6 laps and running. We're still hoping to see much more of that action in the next following laps, because any time in the following laps, that means the third wheel must have to pit any second, because that will not be essential for the third wheel to keep running with soft tires for the long run. Either way, a pit stop has to do the trick to make sure that the third wheel remains on the race and the P1 spot.
Oh no, that's Garrett losing the
Oh.
car after turn 5 and spinning around. I wonder
no.
if he hit the inside wall, but yeah, that was Garrett losing a lot of positions. Seems
That
as
is
if
another of the
commentator
KRs.
hurt right there.
Yes, that's another of the KRs hitting the walls again, causing a collision, and that could possibly mean a terrible start for the KR drivers. Meanwhile, we have Oganis being resilient and keeping that position in P3. That is very good for Zeko Racing, Advan. And Seva is catching up on the P4 spot. We now have a 1-second gap between Seva and Oganis.
Yeah, Seba starting in P10 after winning the sprint race, and now he's all the way up into P4, which is quite interesting. He seems to be having insane pace on this track, and in this car, as Epic Brother touches the pit entry after going through the final corner, Epic Brother just
Oh.
can't seem to focus during
Oh, no.
this feature race.
Maybe it could possibly be the tires or the setup causing oversteer. We may never know. But we're hoping for the best for these drivers to possibly not have a bad race ahead of them. Let's go down to the midfield. We are now seeing a close fight between Garrett Turbo and Lol Fun Greg in the Crake. And the sister KR. I guess Greg is now en route to possibly overtake Garrett if Greg attempts a faster Sector 2, but we may never know. Garrett now accomplishes Sector 2 right there. Not enough for Greg to overtake him. Okay, so that's good defensive moves by Garrett in the KR.
And that's a car spinning after the long back straight. It seems as if they're not even
Mitsubishi.
trying. Oh no, they're back on track right now. But I believe that was. I'm not quite sure who that was.
That was a
I think
Mitsubishi
that-
driver, I believe, right
Yeah,
there.
that's Dan TDM fan in P22, 150 seconds behind the leader.
Oh.
So I'm not sure what's wrong with their race.
Alright, so while we are having the race on the way, as you can see, we have here 4 amazing individuals dancing just ahead, just above the lights. So we have quite a fantastic show as the drivers cross the starting grid, and we can see these 4 fantastic dancers giving entertainment for the race.
Seems as if Seva has moved up to P3 in the podium.
Oh, I see
position.
that.
And he's chasing down Viplummy on the soft. So Viplummy on the soft, his tires might be feeling worse now, and Seva on the hard, obviously gonna be chasing him down and utilizing
Ooh,
the longevity of
be-
the tires.
I see, that's gonna be a KR hunting down the Brandstar, but meanwhile, Brandstar can defend their positions by being resilient and defensive against the upcoming KR, which is now on the long straight, attempting to possibly gain speed, a slipstream, to possibly pass Viplummy, but then Viplummy gets that defensive strategies right there, keeps his P2 position right there without being overtaken by Seva. Fantastic defensive moves, since Seva is still 2 seconds away anyway. But now the gap is closing in. That's about 1 second between Seva and Viplummy. Viplummy has to do some defensive strategies to keep that P2 spot secured.
Yeah, it seems as if Viplummy had a bit of sliding after turn 5, so maybe his rear tires are not looking very good right now, and obviously Seva capitalizing on that fact and pushing as hard as he can to get that position. A lot of these drivers are currently on lower fuel right now because they're planning on refueling during that pit stop.
I see. Has anyone pitted yet, by the way, Faxelan?
No, I haven't seen anyone go into the pits quite yet.
Oh, that is quite interesting then, because
That was catching
third
up.
wheel. Oh, what has happened?
Stefa's catching up.
Oh,
Seva-
yeah.
Seva
Seva is now
about
on the
to
main
be
straight,
very close.
but
He's only
Viplummy
1 tenth behind.
still keeps that P2 spot, and off Seva goes already close. I think that's an overtake or just vision
That is an
lag. Oh, I
overtake.
don't think so.
Yeah, Seva got the
Oh.
position. It's still quite close right now.
Seva has gotten the position, and that means Seva is on to P2. Viplummy is back to P3. Okay,
Right.
that's some fantastic overtakes right there.
Bomboclat and Oganis are currently fighting for P4. They're currently
Oh.
tied on the leaderboard. So that
I
tells
see,
you
that's
how
gonna
close
be-
their races are.
That's gonna be Vexela and the Zeko of Aghanis. Bumblecloud and Aghanis fighting out for that P4 position. Which of these 2 vehicles would possibly be able to get that position right there? I think that is the Zeko of Aghanis successfully going to P4. Zeko Racing gets that P4 spot in lap 11 out of 35 of the French Grand Prix. Oh wow, that's great maneuvers right there.
But I don't think Bomboclat is gonna be giving up. He's gonna be fighting and trying to get that position back. As you can see, he's still on the back of that car. He's probably, yes, he does take a move on the final corner. He loses the position again as they do the switcheroo. But yeah, as they cross the line, it's only 2 chances, 3 chances between those 2 drivers.
Oh, that was
That
so
fight is
close.
not over. Yeah.
So close for Aghanis to lose that position as the Vexala is now attempting to overtake the Zeko of Aghanis. But will they be able to do so? That successful overtake? Yes, Bombo Cloud does take P4 again. Amazing racing by these two individuals. Fantastic as they head to this hard turn as they proceed to this next Sector 2 right here. Man, you just gotta appreciate P4 and P5. This battle between these two drivers. Really ecstatic over there. Alright. Meanwhile, we have Viplummy in P3. Viplummy in the Brand Star, keeping that P3 spot nice and comfortable as we have Seva now 7 seconds just behind of the third wheel. The third wheel is still in P1, 12 laps into the race, keeping that energy flowing as we can see these 4 amazing dancers just above the lights right there, giving energy to the race. The third wheel, fantastic drive as of the moment, and we have Seva closing the gap with 6.9 seconds, and we have Viplummy in 10 seconds to the leader. Okay, this is going to be intense as we proceed to lap 13.
Yeah, it seems as if AJ and Eric are currently fighting for P6. They're quite close to each other. Eric currently leading AJ as they go through the chicane turn 4 and turn 5. But it seems as if that fight is not going to be over anytime soon. Both of them on the hards. As AJ makes a mistake, he goes very wide, touches the barrier on the outside right there and loses a bit of time to Eric. Eric is going to be able to gain a lead to AJ Capadona as they go through the second sector line very soon.
I see. Seems like Capadona is trying to possibly get closer to Eric Capri and get those points going on. But let us go down to the P11 spots. We have Alex Sinho successfully gets an overtake against Blue Sonic Gen as he goes on to P10. Alright, that is a good overtake, but then Alex Sinho hits that wall that will lose time for him as Blue Sonic Gen fancies an overtake.
The third wheel is going into the pits right now. So let's see how this goes as well.
Okay, we got the first pit stop of the race, and that is given to you by the third wheel. The third wheel is now running on P5 as we have Seva going to temporary lead as of this moment. By the way, Seva has not pitted. The first one among the top runners that has pitted is the third wheel, and now the third wheel is back on track in P7. That is now 10 seconds adrift of Seva. But Seva is running with the hard tires, so that means Seva is still on for a longer stint. But we got Viplummy now converging 3.6 seconds going in, showing the might of Brandstar right there, followed by the ferocity of Vexala by Bumblecloud in P3. So these are our top 3 runners as of the moment. We're now seeing a traffic jam collision, not exactly collision, but a traffic convergence right here by the best of the rest between P4 to P10. We now have some drivers getting onto the pits as of this moment.
That's Oganis going into the pits right now. He started on the hards. He started on the hards. I wonder what kind of tires he's going on. It seems as if he lasted on those tires the same amount of laps as the third wheel has lasted on softs, which is quite interesting, and I'm not sure how he's gonna make that strategy work, unless if he goes on the hards again and tries to make them last longer.
Alright, that is also a great insight right there, Faxalan. Thank you very much.
He's on the hards again, and he came out just in P13 right there.
Wow, that's gonna be a long way back to the top, huh?
He's gonna need to make those tires last 20 laps or so.
Oh yes. Possibly there could be teams opting for a one-stop strategy. So right now, as we are on board of the third wheel, as of the moment, the third wheel could possibly be staying for a one-stop strategy. But any of the other teams could possibly opt for an undercut to possibly take over the third wheel, but we may never know. Take note that Seva has not pitted yet as of the moment and is still bound to enter the pits. So this could possibly mean a possible strategy move by one of the top runners in the race.
Yeah, Viplummy currently running the softs. He still hasn't pitted yet. He's currently in P2, so he's making these tires last very long, which is quite interesting.
Alright, as we continue the action going on, there's so many things happening simultaneously that we could not often see several overtakes going on right now. So our sincere apologies if not every overtake that happens is not being broadcasted. But as we are now on board of Bumblecloud in the Vexilla, who is now under attack by Eric Capery in the KR, maintains the position right there as they approach this final few turns of lap 16. Meanwhile, let's go to midfield.
Both of them starting on hard, so they have very similar tires. The third wheel, who has pitted, is currently in P3, and he gets the fastest lap of the race. So yeah, he gets the fastest lap on the hards, which is quite interesting.
Well, assuming that this are fresher tires, that is quite impressive by the third wheel. And now, as we continue...
I wonder if he refueled during the pit stop, which means he has a higher fuel load. So, and Viplummy said the previous fastest lap on soft tires. So I wonder what the difference was, as Eric goes wide and gives the position to Bumblecloud.
Okay, so that now brings Bumblecloud to P4, and that means Eric Capery goes to P5. Let us now bring our attention to the midfield. We're now on board of JKaz in P11, who is now gaining up by a tenth of a second to Blue Sonic Gen. So JKaz and the fellow Brandstar attempting to possibly overtake, and he does. JKaz is now on to P10 in this race, and now is now under attack as JKaz converges against Alexino for P9.
Yeah, it seems as if there's like 3 cars right there fighting for position. And Seva still hasn't pit, he's running the hard, so he's trying to make them last, as Blue Sonic Gem goes into the pits. And just Matt Chain P14 goes into the pits as well, just behind them.
Okay. Seems like so far we're seeing quite an improvement in the third wheel's timing boards, but still maintains another yellow sector, but still keeps that fastest lap going. Now, we may never know if either one of the top runners like Viplummy, Bumblecloud, or possibly Seva even could snatch that fastest lap from the third wheel by the end of this lap.
Yeah. Seems as if Bumblecloud and Eric are still very close to each other. I wonder, I don't think any of them has pit yet because both of them started on the hard, so there. Oh no, Bumblecloud goes into the pit. Interesting, so he's going for the undercut, while Eric takes up P4 and AJ Capadona pits as well just behind him.
Okay, so I guess we have seen our first undercut strategies trying to go and play out in this race. We are now at lap 19, ladies and gentlemen, and as of the moment, Seva is comfortably sitting on the lead with a 5.6 second gap between Seva and the third wheel. Meanwhile, we have... Yes?
But remember, the third wheel has pit and he's only 5 seconds behind, while Seva still hasn't pit and he's probably struggling on those old hards, while the third wheel is on fresher hards and he's catching up to Seva.
Okay. We got the fresher tires of the third wheel indeed, and that could be helpful in gaining positions. But as of the moment, I think the third wheel is not getting too much time as compared to Seva, who is possibly maintaining a good gap between him and the third wheel. As you can see right now, as the third wheel crosses the line, that is not an improvement on the lap times. That's a second adrift of the previous time frame. But still, the third wheel with the fresher tires maintains the fastest lap of the race. Seva is still bound to enter the pits, and we're now at lap 20, possibly trying to conserve the tires as much as Seva can before Seva pits. So that is actually a good strategy.
Only pitching now on lap 20. He was running the hards up until that point, I believe, and the softs, I mean, and now he's going on the softs again. So he made the softs last 20 laps, and now he has to make them last 15 laps, which is quite. No, he touches the barrier on turn 5 right there, so that's a mistake coming out of the pits, and I wonder if he's gonna try to make those positions back up as he came out in P8 right now.
Oh. Alright, so let's go down to the midfield once again. Seems like JCaz has been overtaken by Epic Brother. And Epic Brother in the KR is now on to P11. Meanwhile, we have Capadonna and Viplummy in the Brand Star now fighting out for P9. And seems like Capadonna is 3 seconds adrift of Viplummy, who is now in P9 as of the moment, trying to catch up onto Alexino in P8. And now
he's currently fighting with Alexino. AJ Capadonna is just behind him. He's the same team as Alexino right there. Both of them Uprise Motorsports.
I see, but as of this moment, we got the third wheel now regaining the lead of the race as Seva, I believe, is now 13 seconds adrift of the third wheel. So the third wheel with fresher tires is now back onto P1. Fantastic maneuvers right there by the third wheel. Seva has a long way to go to possibly still regain that P1 position. Meanwhile, Oganis has been sitting comfortably on P3 as of the moment, followed by Bumblecloud in the Vexilla. And Greg in the Crake is now in P5, a significant improvement from P8 early on this race.
Yeah, but
this
he still hasn't pit yet. He's on very old softs hards right there. So he's gonna be losing time on those tires. And I believe Eric and Garrett both pitted on this lap as well. So they might be on the softs, I believe. Yeah, that's Eric in the softs and Garrett on the softs as well. They're gonna be taking those tires to the end of the race. Seva set in green second sector and purple second sector, which is quite interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's on the softs right now. I wonder, has he pit? I can't remember when he pit.
I wasn't able to see as well, but seems like Seva, previously on hard tires, is now on softs. Most likely has already pitted in this race.
Yeah.
Yep. Seva has already pitted. That's already one pit stop for Seva. Now 11 seconds adrift. And now we have quite an intense battle going on. The best of the rest. We have Bombo Clout and Lolfun Greg going on the P4 and P5 positions respectively. Meanwhile, Oganis is quite 5 seconds adrift of Seva, and also about 8+ seconds adrift ahead of Bomba Cloud, which means that Oganis is quite lonely in P3 right now. As you can see, Oganis crosses the line, has no one to overtake Oganis, and remains in P3 position.
Yeah, it seems as if Hawkbase in P16, he just gained that position from Tempe, who's driving the Advan, the Toyota Advan right now. Seems as if the Dan TDM currently 300 seconds behind the lead, while the other Hoshi car currently 180 seconds behind the lead. So that's quite the margin as Seva sets the purple second sector.
Okay, right. Seems like we are now on lap 23 in the race. And
35.
yeah, we still have how many more laps to go, Fexeland? That's like 11 more laps to go.
Yeah, no, 12 laps because the third wheel just started this lap.
Oh,
He just started the 24th lap. But yeah, it should be quite interesting. The third wheel currently gaining a 9-second lead as Seva takes the fastest lap of the race.
Okay,
so
it's gonna be the switcheroo then.
Very hard. Yeah, but he's guaranteed a podium position either way. As he improves his first sector, currently dealing with some traffic.
Ooh.
And let's go on board with him for this lap.
Man, Seva right there. 9.3 seconds, the gap between the third wheel and Seva. We are just about to see. There could be an overtake going on in the next 5 to 6 laps, maybe? Considering it's already 8 seconds.
Yeah,
8 seconds, Vexelan.
He got caught up by 1 second in that sector alone, which is quite interesting. He might have a chance at fighting the third wheel if he keeps that up in 3 to 4 laps.
Yeah. There has to be some continuing pushing right there to possibly catch on to the third wheel.
Yeah, he only improved by 5/10 right there, so he's gonna be
Ooh.
pushing very hard, and he's gonna be hoping for the third wheel to make some sort of mistake to catch up even more.
The third wheel is trying to do his best to keep onto the P1 spot. Both of the drivers have already pitted, by the way, and it's all about strategies and resilience on track as we see who could possibly end up as P1 by the end of this race. So we have Oganis with about 13 seconds gap between them and Seva. So we're just seeing what could be the action going on.
There seems to be a fight between Garrett, Viplummy, and Lolfun Greg currently for P7 right there. So they're gonna be trying to make use of their fresh or old tires, whatever they have right now. Viplummy obviously on new softs. Garrett pitted a bit earlier than him, I believe, but yeah, Viplummy gaining the position. He currently has P7 as Garrett is chasing him down, trying. Oh no, Garrett touches the barrier right there, but he's trying his hardest to catch up to him as as Lolfun Greg is falling behind.
Oh, that has to be quite a battle right now in the midfield, as we can see right now in P8. Yes, this is going to be a possible overtake in a few laps time if Viplummy continues to push forward.
Behind now. He made up a few seconds in a few sectors or a few laps. He's 5.5 seconds behind now.
5.5 now, Fexland.
Yeah, he seems to be catching him very fast. He might be on his back on lap 28 or 30.
Okay, alright. The third wheel has to do some defensive maneuvers to maintain that P1 spot, or I'm not sure if a possible pit stop would be good here. We may never know, because if the third wheel does a fantastic pit stop and tries to go and catch up to Seva by the end of the race in lap 35, that could be a historical win.
But if he's considering a pit stop, it should be right now, because if he takes any longer to make a decision, it will be too late and he won't capitalize on those new softs. I believe it's already too late to pitch for new softs, but if he is considering it, he should go for it now. If he does pit stop, he's only going to be in P2 or P3. He's not going to lose a lot of positions, so it should be heavily considered to pitch the third wheel right now.
Alright, I got a bit of new information. I don't think we talked about this yet, but we have one of the drivers that disconnected from the Zint team. I believe that was going to be Tesla Rossa. He is now disconnected. He is out of the race.
Oh, is he? What position was he running before this connection?
I'm not sure. I think he was actually disconnected for a while. We never actually noticed it.
Oh.
But we just had a talk with him. It turns out he disconnected. Couldn't get back in because of the server lock.
That really sucks for him. Yeah.
Unfortunate for Tesla Rossa.
Seva only 4 seconds behind now in the third wheel, not pitting. So I guess he's going to be taking those tires to the end while Seva is closing in lap by lap.
Alright, I guess at this point Seva is hunting down the third wheel, possibly going to take that P1 spot if the third wheel does not execute any Max Verstappen-like defensive maneuvers right there. Seva is saying, I'm gonna get that position.
Oganis in P3 pitching, he's gonna be losing a few positions right there. He was 7 seconds ahead in P3, so I wonder why they made the decision to pitch him right now, but he should be going to the softs and trying to take them to the end. I wonder how beneficial this strategy will be. If he wasn't very low on fuel, I think this might have been a mistake. But let's see how much he makes use of those tires.
Oganis has to do some heroic stunts to possibly gain more positions by the end of the race. Take note that we are lap 28 out of 35, and that means the action is just beginning to unfold for the final parts of this race as we continue to watch these drivers vie it out on track right now, as it's now a 2.7 lead.
The third wheel pit. The third
The
wheel
third wheel
pits.
pits! And
We
Seva
have
is now
6
on to
laps to
P1!
go. Seva moves up to P1. The third wheel going into the pits. He's doing a 2-stop. Ogan is obviously doing a 2-stop as well. He's only 1 second away from getting that P5 position. So his pit stop is gonna get him to P5, but I'm not quite sure if it's gonna get him back to P3 where he was running before that pit stop. The third wheel comes out 13 seconds behind, 15 seconds behind
Oh,
Seva
no.
right there. Obviously he doesn't lose another position, but he's behind Seva, which was inevitable, but now he's gonna be chasing down Seva.
Okay, now this is going to be a tough 6 laps rating in the race, as Seva is now on the way to possibly pass the lap 29 and on to lap 30. This could be an intense final few laps. We may never know. There's something's gonna happen because, as you can see here, Fexeland, the third wheel just gets a purple second sector right there.
Yeah, apparently the third wheel was running very low on fuel and he might have ran out of fuel on the last lap. That's why they pit him, got him a bit of fuel, and got him on a new set of tires.
I guess a possible new set of tires and a refuel re-strategy would be able to help the third wheel gain that position and possibly overtake Seva in the final laps of the race. Right now it's 13.9. Do you think that this could possibly mean a win by Seva or a fantastical win by the third wheel, Fexeland?
I think it's gonna be a close fight. I can't predict who's gonna take it, but we need to see some insane pace from the third wheel, and that we need to see him catching up very quickly right now, or else he's not gonna have a chance at taking that P1 position. But a fight we're not talking about is a fight for P3. Currently, Bomboclat fighting Eric. Currently for P3, there seems to be a 1 second gap or a 2 second gap right now. So Bomboclat managed to run away, but before that it was much closer.
Oh, I guess it's getting closer now, Fexeland, as Eric Curry is just about a second away to Bombo Cloud. This could possibly mean a good overtake in the following next laps against Bombo Cloud. And Bombo Cloud right now is trying to defend this drive to keep that P3 on spot. As we go back to P2, the third wheel is now 12.6 seconds adrift of Seva, and we're now in lap 31 out of 35.
Yeah, we are, and it seems as if the third wheel takes the fastest lap of the race and takes the fastest first sector right now. So he's on another hot lap. He has 4 or 5 laps to catch up, so he needs to make the most use of them and get that position from Seva.
Okay, now let's go down the grid. We can now see from P11 to P14. If you can see the gap between these drivers, we have Alexinho up to Hawk Base. This is going to be a great fight for P11, as we have Blue Sonic Gen 2 seconds adrift of J Cass, who is now in P11 as Alexinho ascends to P10. That's now in the points for Uprise right there.
Yeah, there seems to be a very intense fight for the points between Alexino and JCass right there in the Brand Star. And the third wheel is only 11 seconds behind Seva. Remember, when he came out the pits, he was 15 seconds behind Seva. So clearly he made up 4 seconds in those few laps since he pitted. But he only has 3 laps until he needs to be on the back of Seva and get in the position of him. As that's Greg, I believe. Greg out of the race. He seems to be not moving right there. Seems to be stuck in the wall, maybe? I don't know what happened with Greg.
That is the
right
team
there.
owner of Crake Motorsport, and that is Greg, now stuck on the wall. This could possibly mean the end of the race for Greg, if Greg could not reverse the vehicle. I think it's stuck right there. Oh no, that was a horrendous stop for Crake Motorsports right there. Definitely not their weekend today, but fantastic ride nonetheless. Oh,
It seems to be like a 6-way fight for P10 right now. It seems to be very close cars for that P10 position, which is quite interesting. And the third wheel is catching up to Seva lap after lap.
snap.
But I
8.8
really doubt he
seconds.
has enough time. I doubt he has enough time to catch up to that car.